Greetings, my name is Spartacus. In the name of the ancestors, I greet you. When you use the word slavery, it gives the impression that we did something voluntarily. But something happened to us. Some people enslaved African people. It is enslavement, not slavery. Our enslavement was part of a process. If we didn't volunteer to be enslaved, how did it happen?
By force.
Force. War? That's the force that we're talking about. Yes? So, do we agree that African people were enslaved as a result of war? Yes? No. Okay, so we volunteered. Greed and commerce is, I see you have something, I see you are something that is valuable. I am talking as a European or as an Arab. I know your history.
Yes, sir.
I know that everything that I know came from you. And I know that you don't remember that. And I know that you are capable of doing everything that I can do and more. I want you and I want what you have. I want to take that and you. Can I take that peacefully? If you let me, yes. Can I do it peacefully? The enslavement of African people was as a result of African domination of Europe and the Europeans, 700 years of ruling Europe. It's not Arabs, Arabized Africans. Africans who were invaded by Arabs and imposed with Islam, and in the name of Islam went around the world, and Europe was the most of the world at the time, went around the world and conquered in the name of Islam. That was African people, Arabized African people. You go to Nigeria, that is the biggest Islamic nation in the world today. The war that resulted in our enslavement, African people's enslavement, when did it come to an end? What date? When we look at what's happening on a global basis, we understand that there is a war going on. We understand it more clearly when we look at it historically.
How do we as a community actually move forward, actually physically, Desmond stopped saying there's something that's going on. How do you actually work together and do that? One of the things that I think that won't help is if we see it as a war. If you fight a war, if you're always in a war mode, you're fighting, you don't get to, it's always just about, all right, I'm fighting, I've got to survive, I've got to do that. You don't get to actually relax and communicate with each other.
The white traders, the white slave traders went in and exploited divisions within African society, sell weapons to one tribe and say that your neighbour is going to fight you, and sell weapons to the other tribe and say the same thing, foment war, foment division, and then pick up the pieces afterwards as the different leaders would sell their prisoners of war into slavery. That's my understanding. I may be wrong. In terms of the war that is going on outside our door on a regular basis, it's Brixton versus Peckham. It's divisions within the black community, black people fighting other black people by virtue of the fact that they live on the other side of the division that is Camberwell New Road. Okay? And it's the exacerbation of those conflicts that I'm really keen to hear about. What are we going to do about that? What I'm really keen to hear from this meeting is how are we going to instill those messages in the young people who go to that school over the road, because basically a lot of the problems that we're experiencing here in this community are really, really serious problems. Young black boys are stabbing and shooting each other by virtue of the fact that they come from Brixton or Peckham. How are we going to do something about that? I would like to know.
We've been lost in which is our cultural food. Some people say that Caribbean food is black people's food, or some people might say that European food is black people's food, or certain textures, or jerk chicken is our food, or jerk pork is our food. At the end of the day, we know that if you put diesel into our underlid car, it will break down, it won't work. If you do not MOT or service your vehicle, it will not work, it will break down. And we are doing this to our bodies on a daily basis. We have to understand is what we put into our body will affect the way how we think and the way how we handle each other. So at the same time, we're touching on a lot of these points in education, history, not his story, but our story, history and the past and such other things. We need to understand, are we going to walk out here tomorrow and still infect our bodies in the way how we are not going to wake up or even feel bothered to react and tackle certain issues? Like, most people do eat meat, most people eat pork, most people eat this. We need to get back into, if we want to find ourselves, look at your body, find out your inner self, and find out exactly what it takes for your inner body to react and work in order to process the mind, to make it think outward yeah, to deal with all these issues that we have today. It's a definitely long decision. You can't really think, it can't be done in this meeting, it can't be done in 10 other meetings. It has to be a process of over many years. But it's like we are tapping into and we are working alongside people who don't really want it to work in the way how we want it to work.
Thank you.
And that's all it is. So when I mean I wouldn't side with Trident, I wouldn't side with certain people, I mean we need to tell them, stop telling us how to handle our people. And give us the means and the capital so that we can deal with our people properly. Our parents came here for a reason, yeah, because they saw opportunity or whatever to bring back, and it's like their kids and our kids are losing that dream and losing that vision.